So my name is Patrick Cassidy. I'm an NLP practitioner and life coach, business coach. So today what we're going to do is talk about how to take control of your life back from yourself. To me, what that means is we get overwhelmed in the stress of day-to-day life, and it's kind of easy to get wound up in your own head and you kind of miss the important things that are going on and have an objective view of the situation. So hopefully I'm going to be able to present a few techniques today that will help you do that. So we'll get started. Now, can everyone see the presentation? And there will be some audio with it in a minute again. So if you can't hear anything, do raise your hand or just put it in the chat box to let me know that. So 3 steps to take back control of your life from yourself. A little video clip to get us going today. Now I want you to just take a minute and let that sink in now. So the first thing that's important into taking control back of your life is sleep. As adults, we don't sleep nearly enough. Some of the main benefits of getting a good night's sleep are just simply to avoid accidents. Being awake for 24 hours is equivalent of driving drunk. There's been a number of studies on this. And it's just as bad as, texting on the phone, and people don't value their sleep nearly enough. And it's assumed that as people get older, they need less sleep, and that's true to an extent. There's a study on young people kind of in the 20s and below, up to middle age, and then in the senior citizen category. And the difference in the amount of sleep is really only about 20 minutes a day. So as people get older and they sleep, 4 or 5 hours a night, it's actually a lack of melatonin that causes them to sleep less, not that their body actually needs less sleep. So it's a kind of an epidemic that people don't sleep enough as they get older. The next point is the sleep and metabolism are controlled by the same part of the brain. And what that means is that if you're not sleeping enough, it's really hard to control your body weight because your metabolism goes off and you end up eating to stay awake. So you need, high energy, short-term sugar foods as cravings just to get through the day because you're tired. Sleep also gives you sharper attention. There was a study on children, and I think you all know somebody who has a small child, in the born to 3-year age group, that when they get overtired, they kind of go a bit ballistic and kind of ADHD. Is there any reason to think that, kids, when they get to school age, if they're not sleeping enough and they're diagnosed with ADHD, they're not just overtired? And as adults, it's maybe not the same, but it still loses our focus on attention. And the last point is it improves memory and learning. So memories and thoughts and skills are formed through dendrite paths in the brain. So as you learn something, connections are formed, and the more times that connection is reinforced, it creates a mylar sheath around it to make it kind of a neural highway. Sleeping actually promotes that. You can actually learn something, get a good night's sleep, and wake up and understand it better than when you went to bed, simply because as you sleep, the mind learns better. It forms those pathways. Next point is meditation. So meditation, like sleep, helps to calm and restore the body, relaxes the nervous system, relieves muscle tension, generates optimism, self-esteem, confidence, and motivation. A few extra points on meditation. As you meditate, it actually goes through and is kind of a cleaning process of the mind. So all of these little fears and insecurities and negative thoughts and beliefs, they kind of sit and dwell in your mind. And as you meditate, it's sort of a clearing process. The mind goes, I don't need that, and it kind of throws it away. There's sort of a misconception that meditation is about having an empty mind. Meditation is much more of a practice of this clearing process. So as you think when you meditate, your mind naturally wanders to what you had for lunch, what you had for dinner, what you're doing this weekend. And those thoughts are actually just like the tip of an iceberg of clearing. It's clearing out the unwanted bits of your mind. Don't take that the wrong way. It's clearing out the unwanted bits of things in your responses to situations. When a bus drives by you on a curb, at an unconscious level, your fight or flight response kicks in because there's this big blue thing trying to kill you. And we know that's not actually the case, but your unconscious doesn't know that. So it still files it in the same category, and it stresses the body. Meditation helps remove those unneeded stressors, which then relates back to relaxing the nervous system, muscle tension, and fears. And by getting rid of those tensions, fears, and unwanted stressors, it creates space to have the positivity and see things in a different light. The last point there of enhancing creativity, I think we all know that the mind is a left and right brain. There's left and right brain individuals. Left brain is more pragmatic and structured and organized, and the right brain is more creative. The creative part of the mind is actually linked to savant. So savant people tend to have kind of this uncanny ability to tap into the full potential of the right side of the brain, and they've actually reproduced this in studies where they can introduce an electric current to separate the halves of the brain on a temporary basis and effectively give people savant capabilities on demand. And what meditation does is it actually helps tap into that, because that state of a savant capability, kind of the zone is what most people will call it, when you're in the middle of something and time seems to disappear and everything happens very quickly, and usually very well. That's because the right brain doesn't have any concept of time, and it just is. And meditation is a state of being in the right brain, effectively. So by meditating, you can actually really enhance your capability of creativity. And the converse to that is that if you're in a creative state, it is a meditative state, and it can have some of the same benefits of a sit-down meditation practice. And if you have trouble clearing your mind, that is a good way. If you like creative writing or drawing or playing a musical instrument, whatever your form of creativity is, that in itself is a meditative state. What I would recommend is a meditation of 20 minutes, at least once a day. Twice a day is kind of the optimum for benefit. And that 20 minutes twice a day is about the equivalent to 8 hours of rest to the body. So 8 hours of sleep, in 40 minutes of meditation a day. It's a pretty good trade-off, I think. And I know in my life it has made a huge difference in my outlook on life and how I sleep and how focused I can be throughout the day. The last benefit of meditation is that through this weeding process, the clearing out of negative thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and fears, it actually gives you space between thoughts. And what I mean by that is that if you're in a situation where it's a stressful, high pressure situation, through the long-term process of meditation, you actually create space between the actions happening and the response you give. So instead of reacting at an emotional level instinctually on what you think is the right response, your mind can actually separate what's going on and look at the situation and respond effectively rather than react. And in my experience, it's a huge difference in the ability to really take control of your life in any situation. This is a bit of a funny picture, but I actually put it there for a reason. A lot of people think that meditation involves a very, very structured, specific, you must sit in lotus position, you must have your head up, you must be flat on the floor with no back support. That's great if you can do it. It's really not necessary. As long as you're sitting upright, I prefer not laying down because you will just fall asleep. It actually introduces sleep chemicals in the brain by lying down. But any sitting position, I just sit in my kitchen chair with a back support is effective. So it can be done as simply as you like, or as comfortably as you like. The last step today is going to be reframing. Now, this is kind of an NLP term, and the meaning is just what it sounds like. It's taking a situation and putting a different spin on it. And as I go through these, I want you all to see if you can think of a situation currently in your life where you're frustrated, or it's a negative outcome, something you're just generally a little unhappy with. What reframing can do is help you see the positive of any situation, regardless of what it is. I know there's some cat lovers on here, so don't kill me for making this example. But if the cat dies, then you don't have to buy cat food anymore. So don't hate me. It gives you an objectivity to a situation. So as I was saying a second ago, in a situation, rather than reacting at an emotional level, if you can respond objectively to a situation, it tends to be a much better outcome for everyone, and then you can have a much more positive outcome, which again gives you back control of the situation, or your response to the situation. Perception is projection. So a lot of people believe that the eyes are cameras to the world, seeing what's around us. In reality, they're much more like projectors onto the world. What we see in other people and in situations is a reflection of something going on within ourselves. So if you see negativity all around, and you see people that are angry and people that are overworked, there's a good chance that there's something in your life that is is the same. And if you can be observant of that, or maybe you can take action to work on yourself rather than try to fix all the situations around you that will inevitably not go away, because it's just a matter of what you see. There was a story I heard the other day of two dogs that walked into a room. One came out angry and gnarly and growling and clearly very upset, and the other one came out tail wagging, tongue hanging out, very, very happy and excited. And this woman that was walking by and saw it, she couldn't figure out what could be in there that would make one dog so happy and one so angry. And she walked in, and it was a room full of mirrors. So what reframing can help with is on any external event. So like as I said a second ago, if you could think of a situation in your life where you'd like a different outcome, that's probably an external event. How you're interacting with your team, or somebody that's frustrating you on your team, something like that. Interactions with people. So in a relationship, if your significant other is angry with you, maybe you could step outside of that situation and see from their perspective why they're angry, and then maybe that could help put something back in your court for control of what you could do to fix the situation, help the situation. And lastly is self-talk. We all know what self-talk is. I think thoughts that just randomly go around your head over and over again and tend to repeat. Those repeating thoughts, something like "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do that," "I can't public speak," "I can't change my job." Those repeating thoughts get absorbed into the unconscious, and they become limiting beliefs. If you can capture those and reframe them into something more positive, I can't quit my job. It could be as simple as a question of why not? Who says you can't quit your job? That alone is a reframe that then opens up possibilities to, is there actually an answer for why you can't, or is it just an excuse to stay in something that's comfortable? So I'll go back to the video now. Since I can't actually interact to talk with you guys at the moment, I'm curious. There's a number of ways you could view that. One, the bear is fairly clumsy, and he obviously didn't have a rope, and he wasn't paying attention with his tools, so he ended up losing both of his tools, and he put himself in a very bad situation. On the other hand, he found the resources in himself to still get to the top despite the bad things that were happening around him. And if you noticed, when he got to the lip, he was actually picking himself up. As he was trying to do a one-arm pull-up, he was trying to pick himself up with his backpack. So I found that, and I thought it was a really good example of a bad situation that the bear kept making positive and kept making light of. I want to encourage you guys as well. I don't know if I said this earlier, to ask questions in the question box if you have anything. There will be a bit of time, I think, for a Q&A at the end. So back to the perception equals projection part. There's the term by Anthony Robbins that it's basically a 4-part system of evolution. And this is why, in his example, why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's 4 boxes that I don't have a slide for. That's based on potential, and what your potential is, or what you think your potential or human potential is, leads to the actions that you take. And the actions that you take lead to the results that you get. And then the results that you get feed back into your belief in the potential. And if any one of these things is down, if you don't take action, then you don't get results, and you don't believe it'll work, then you don't believe you have any potential. if you can artificially change one of these, which is very possible because, well, they're not real things. They're just a construct of the mind. So if you can believe fully that your results are where you want them, in the example of money, if you can believe that you have all the money in the world that you want to, go buy a fancy car, or buy the house you want on the beach, or, have a, Jim Carrey's example was every morning he would go sit up on a curb and believe he had $10 million. He wrote himself a check and put it in his wallet for $10 million. The people that do that have an absolute convicted belief, belief that their results exist already. Not that it's something they're waiting for, but it's something that's already happened. And that result in their mind becomes a goal that the unconscious then goes and chases, which creates an unfathomable belief in themselves that they have unlimited potential. And that gives them the desire to take the action that ends up creating the results. And the alternative is that, if you don't have any belief in yourself that you can make money, or that if you think you're poor or you don't need money, that belief that you don't need money is going to lead in a potential that doesn't drive you to have money. So you won't take any action to get money. So the end result is that you don't have any money. And Zig Ziglar says, money is not the most important thing, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. If you believe it will work out, you'll see opportunities. If you believe it won't, you'll see obstacles. There's a number of different quotes similar to this. I think Confucius has one that says, those that think they can and those that think they can't are both right. What you believe is possible in yourself is possible. And it doesn't matter if it's realistic or not. Flying in an airplane is not realistic, but it works because somebody believed it. So we'll do a quick try it out, and please feel free to comment in the chat box or questions as we do this. I want you to take that situation you thought of earlier, something you're frustrated with, something you'd like a different perspective on, and really create a vivid image of that in your mind. If this involves another person, picture them in front of you in the conversation, in the action that's going on. That's the frustration. And then I want you to take a step back out of your own body so that you can see the situation and you can see yourself in it. And put yourself in this position of the observer, a witness to the situation, completely emotionally detached. And then run through the situation, if it's something that's happened in the past or something you're anxious about. Run through the situation from end to end, watching it from the outside perspective, not from yourself, not giving it any judgment or value. Now, as you see that from the outside, what's the positive you can gain from that? What can you learn from that situation about yourself to take away from it to make it the most positive possible without actually changing the situation? How can you view it differently? I hope everyone had a minute to do that. I don't see any comments, so I'm assuming that you're all getting along very well. Well, that's the end of the content I've got. I am offering a promotion this week, $10 for a half-hour introduction meditation session. And the people that are on, I think a good deal of you have actually already learned to meditate, but the offer is still there, $10 for a 30-minute session with me. Since you're all remote. It'll be a Skype session. And once I finish up here, I'll actually send you a link to sign up for that, if you so choose. Also, once the webinar is completed, you should be getting a thank you email, and there'll be another link in there to sign up for my mailing list. I'll be totally honest, I don't have anything set up to mail out yet, but I would still appreciate it if you would, because hopefully in the near future I will have some emails. Does anyone have any questions at all? If not, we can wrap up a few minutes early. I don't see any hands or chats or questions in the box. Well, if that's it, then if you don't mind, I will redirect everyone over to the sign up link if you want to take advantage of that. If not, that's fine too. And I hope you all have a great evening, depending on where you're at in Central or Mountain Time. Thanks for coming, everyone. Have a great day.